Hello, it's Mio and welcome to the fourth video of Inktober. So this is gonna be the last video and it's gonna have all of the drawings that are remaining. So it's gonna be day 22 to 31. I'm pretty excited that I actually was able to get this far. Very happy with myself. This is the first challenge that I have completed of Inktober, that is, and I've tried many of times. So the prompt for day 22 was button, and I really wanted to make like a mouse with an eye patch. And after I made this mouse, I didn't really like it that much, and I wanted to go with a little bit more of a realistic looking rat, but still, you know, cartoony. But I felt like the other one was a little bit too cutesy and round, so I wanted one that was a little bit more long, if that makes sense. Like I wanted the nose to be long and stuff. So it's the same idea. There's gonna be a button eye patch, and then I want to add another button in there somehow. And at this point of the process, I didn't really know how, but I did wanted this rat or a mouse to be kind of like a pirate, because I felt like that fitted with the eye patch. So I gave the mouse a needle, which is gonna be like their little sword, and then they get a little hook hand that is supposed to be like a fishing hook. So I wanted this all to look like, you know, a real life rat who found things around the house and is now a pirate. To go with this slightly more realistic look, I also make a lot of fur on the mouse, which I think really brings it to life. And then here I'm adding the thread to the button. That is kind of what holds the whole eye patch together. And they also get teeth that are, I feel like, more of a rat. It looks more like a rat at this point, even though my thought was kind of a mouse in the beginning. I also tried to keep the fur quite light around the mouth, because I wanted the rat to be lighter there, and I wanted some contrast between the fluffy parts and the non-fluffy parts. Here you can see the hook a little bit more clearly, and I also added the button to the belt, and then it's gonna be wearing a baggy pants, because that's very piratey in my opinion. The most time-consuming part of this process, besides making the sketch, because I went a lot back and forth, is definitely the fur. I wanted it to look a little bit like tighter, and then I add more layers where it's supposed to be darker, so under the neck, and also to separate the arm from the body, and also under this belt-like thing that is holding the needle, is supposed to hold the needle. Here's the final result. It is probably one of my favorites of this video. Spoiler alert, it's really cute. But we're moving on, and we're going to prompt 20, I think it says 23 there, it's hard to see, and it's firefly. I looked up fireflies. I had never really seen a firefly up close, like a realistic real firefly, and they looked really cool. But I don't feel like they're like super recognizable if I just draw that, right? It has to be like a glowy effect. And I wanted to go with a different direction, so I decided to make a normal fly that it has some fire elements. And I tried different stuff. I tried like farting fire, I tried different stuff, but spewing fire or like throwing up fire was like the easiest thing. So I decided to just go with that. So it's gonna be a literal like fire spewing fly instead of a firefly, which I thought I was being creative with, but I don't know if I really like this idea that much now looking back at it. But you know, I was trying to be creative. Here I'm trying to shape the fly in like a nice way that was interesting to the eye. They kind of have like the six-pack, but on the back. Didn't know that about flies, that was new to me. Fluffy butts, nice wings. This is the end result. Here's my cat. We're moving on. We're going quickly through these because there's a lot of drawings to go through. Next one is Rowdy. This one, I only really had one idea, and it was something to do with crows. I wanted crows to be like street fighting or something with boxy gloves, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna go with like a very straightforward, more simple drawing. So we're going with a crow that is screaming, and I've definitely seen this as like a meme somewhere. And I've seen this before of like different creatures screaming, and they're being like the letters A, you know, like you know, I'm not gonna scream in this video for you, but you get the idea. I felt like it was a fun and easy idea, and a lot of the drawings in this video are gonna be relatively easy or quickly made because I made most of them yesterday. I took a vacation to England for a few days, so I definitely did not draw all of these. Oh, and I found a new pen. Look at this one. This one's very juicy. This was really nice. It's a lot thicker. I was struggling because the other pens that I've been using through this challenge just died. They are empty. Don't work anymore. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I was on vacation for 4 days, so I didn't draw anything, and then I was really tired when I came back, so I didn't draw anything for even longer. And then yesterday, I really, really, really wanted to complete this challenge, even though I'm not doing it correctly. You know, you're supposed to do one drawing every day, but I just wanted it to be done. I just wanted to actually finish it. That's the most important part for me. So not necessarily drawing every single day, but just drawing all 31 prompts. That's my goal. So that's why a lot of them are going to be a little bit rushed, like this one, pretty rushed, but I think it still turned out pretty good. Here's Rowdy. Next one is going to be 25, and it is Inferno. I wasn't sure what that was, actually. I had to Google it, like many of the other prompts through this challenge. And turns out it has something to do with hell and like many flames. So I wanted to be creative with it. And I've always wanted to draw like a bird skull, so I thought, okay, I'll draw like flames going out of a bird skull. And at this point of the process, I had made the sketch, and it was already looking a little rough. I was like, you can barely see the flames, there's too much going on, this is not gonna work out. But again, I did not have time, I was tired, I had already drawn a bunch of drawings so far. Not a bunch of drawings, but a few drawings, and I had so many more to go, so I'm just gonna go for it, I thought. So I did. And this cross-hatching was going pretty smoothly, actually, and the skull looks alright. And then I did the flames, and the flames look not so good, and it's very messy, and I don't like this. Here's the drawing, yeah. Anyway, we're moving on to the next one, because there's a lot of drawings. Again, we gotta go through 26, puzzling. This one, I'm just gonna say it, this one is gonna be the worst one. This is gonna be the worst one. The idea is alright, but the execution is bad. I know the fails that I did. I was really excited about these new juicy pens that I found in the pencil case. This one is like the one I'm gonna be using. I think it's the 0.3, and it's pretty juicy and a little bit too thick for this, because this is kind of like a small detail work here. But the idea is basically that you are putting together a puzzle of a face, and you're putting it wrongly together, so you know it's like it's puzzling, you know, it's something is wrong with it. What's the idea? So we have an eye connected to a mouth, and it's supposed to be a little bit not connected very well. Excuse the cat walking over my drawing. There he is again, looking at my drawing. I zoom in, you don't have to look at him anymore, which is a little bit sad, but you gotta see the drawing properly. You gotta see how not great it turned out. So yeah, this is the 0.3 pen that I found in my pencil case. It's nice and juicy, but something went wrong. I was also drawing too fast. I should have taken it more slowly, because the execution is just not good. I'm gonna skip over as well how I like did the mouth, because the mouth looks absolutely awful. The nose was alright, I guess. We're zooming through this one. A little bit of nose shading though, and a little bit of like blush, I guess. And here's the final result. It's tragic. Don't look at it. We're moving on. We're going to drawing or prompt 27, onion. I was very happy to get a normal prompt, or a prompt that is like a thing, because those are my favorite, like starfish, give me a button, give me, you know, like physical things, instead of words like inferno or something that you can kind of interpret different ways. I just want like a solid thing that I can draw, because it's easier for me to get creative with it, because then I can do something out of that thing instead of having to make a whole concept by myself. And I feel like there's a lot of like concept prompts here instead of solid normal things. Anyway, I added a little person inside the onion, which I thought turned out cute, but then I was like, no, let's go with something else. Let's go with an eye. So we went with an eyeball in there. I kind of regret not making the little person. I think the little person was really cute, but it is okay. Eye is good as well. So I wanted it to be a red onion, because that is just easier for me to make a contrast with, because then I can make the outside of the onion black or darker, and then I can make the inside of the onion white, just with like the stripes in between. I don't know if you hear that, but my cats are going crazy. It's incredibly rude, but I can't do anything about it, and I don't really have time to cut and edit this dialogue too much, or this voiceover, because it gotta go up in not all that long, because I want to post on my normal posting time. We're giving the eyeball some veins, and then here we're making a full onion, so not cut, so it's supposed to be, it has to be black. So I'm trying to get a little bit of shading in it, but doing it quickly. Here I realized I didn't finish the eye. Here it is finished. Very good. I actually kind of like that one. So here is, prompt. It's going so fast. Prompt 28, and it is skeletal. And it's blurry here, and I apologize for that. It keeps focusing on my hand when it's supposed to focus on the drawing. But it is, I wanted to do a fish. I wanted to draw like a more realistic fish skeleton for a very long time, and I thought, here's my chance, let's do it. Could I have been more creative with it and done something cool, skeletal, and you know, because the concept not skeleton, it's skeletal, right? So it's supposed to be more of a concept piece, I guess. That's where they're trying to get from us, I don't know. But I did not want to, so here's a fish. Drawing like the spine piece, or like the middle section of the fish, was quite satisfying, but also hard to get right because it's a lot of the same stuff. So they're gonna look a little bit uneven, and I didn't really mind that or try to fix that. It's just the way of life, you know? That's how nature intended it to be. So we're going a little bit, we're cutting a little bit of it away actually, because it's not that impressive. It's a fish. So here is some back pieces, you know, how I drew those with this nice pen of mine. And then after I had drawn everything, I wanted to make the background black to make the piece pop a lot more. And I regretted this. At this point, when I was drawing right there, I regretted it. I was like, why am I doing this? I'm using my thick pen, my thickest pen, my 0.7, but it is taking so long. So I used the Posca. Here it is finished. We are moving on. We're going to 29. It is lesson. So again, another like one that you can do a lot with, like lesson of what is the lesson. And I struggled, and I could not struggle for too long because again I had one day to do all these drawings, except the first one. I did the first one the day before, but all of these other drawings are all made the same day. They were all made yesterday. But the only thing I could think about, the only thing that could pop in my head fast enough, was to draw or redraw a scene from Over the Garden Wall, where there are a bunch of animals in school. It's a really cute scene, and the animals are so adorable. So I chose some of my favorite ones to put in this picture. I just added 3 because I felt like that was a good number, and they're not really placed completely correctly, or like maybe they are. I don't remember honestly. But I chose to draw the cat, the dog, and the bunny. And then here we are lining, and my hand is always in the way. It's so annoying. I'm so sorry. So you can barely see me draw the cat, even though the cat is my favorite of the ones that I drew here on this picture, or this drawing specifically. So I'm forcing you to watch it. Apparently, I didn't cut anything. So here you go. See, do you see anything? I don't. We're moving on to Wirt, because I really wanted Wirt, a character from the show, to be in the door. And I should probably have looked up a reference of how his silhouette looks, but I did not want to. So here it is, hopefully relatively correct. I think people can see that it is him. And then here we are drawing, or now we have drawn everything in, we're shading. So it's time to block in some of the shadows, add some cross hatching and some lines, making their eyes look a bit more lively. And then he has like the sailor costume, which is so cute. So I make sure to make it black around, you know, where his neck comes out. Fixing the floor. And that is pretty much the last little detail. So in a second, you're gonna see the finished piece right here. And then we're going to prompt 30. Now we are almost there. Prompt 30 is vacant. Vacant, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. But apparently it is, or I actually knew this word. This one was easy. So empty house, I'm hoping. So that's what, at least that's what I did. So I wanted it to be a little ghost house, and I wanted a little ghost to come out of it. So that's the main idea here. We are sketching it out. We found a picture, or I found a picture. I don't know why I'm saying we. I am alone in this. I'm alone in this room, except for my cats. But yeah, I draw a house. Speaking of cats, but yeah, it's a haunted house that I found a reference picture of, and then I'm drawing something similar. I'd make a few changes. I didn't want to make it as complicated as the original post, and I also wanted it to look a little bit more haunted. So I add like a barricaded window, which I am drawing in right here, and I quite like this window. This is probably one of my favorite little touches. I try to add some wood texture and try to make it a little bit more three-dimensional with some shading, and then there are some bushes and some grass. And this is the only piece that I use a ruler for, because I was just not doing all that good in my other drawings, in my opinion, a lot of them. And I felt like I needed a confidence boost, and a ruler can do that for you. It can make it look really good. So, cracked open my tiny ruler. Here we are drawing tiny little ghosts in the window, and I think this is probably one of my favorite little touch, because I really like to kind of make them look like they're there without adding like lining around them. That was a fun thing for me. And I also really like the roof of this house. I think the roof turned out really good. There's just a lot of parts here that I enjoy. So this is one of the drawings that I actually really like. So here I'm really just adding in like the last little shadings, and that is pretty much it. Here's the finished result of Vacant. It's probably one of my favorite ones of this video. And now we're moving on to the last prompt, which is a word. This one I was not excited about. It is like what I usually like, you know. It is a very solid word that describes a thing and not like a concept, which I like. But I didn't want to draw like a trophy, and I don't know, like this is last drawing. I'd already made a lot of drawing that day. I was feeling lazy. So we are drawing just a normal like award ribbon, and then I write a little message kind of like for myself, because I was actually able to finish the Inktober challenge and actually did draw all 31 prompts. So yeah, pretty simple though for a last drawing here. Maybe could have put a little bit more effort in, but I do shade it, as you can see here. I do use my half dead pen that makes very nice thin lines now, even though it's supposed to make a lot thicker lines. And I just figured that it worked very well for shading, and it really does. So here I am writing the little message to myself, which is number 1, okayest artist, because that is what I am. I am a-okay. Yeah, that is it. Here is the finished ribbon piece. Isn't it absolutely stunning? But that completes the Inktober 2025. I'm very happy that I actually made it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.